Every week we ask a question no one dares to ask, and take you into a world that might have been. This is What If? Imagine the year is 2100. The surface is unlivable, scorched by climate collapse. So we move down. What if humans had to live underwater? First, we need fully pressurized cities beneath the sea giant, airtight domes, or mobile submarines the size of malls. We're gonna need some big domes, because current tech tops out at around 100 meters deep. That's not very deep for a landlubber. But for a submarine, it's basically Everest Base Camp. At that depth, water pressure can crush even the most reinforced vessels. So our sprawling coastal cities would need to be shallower than a swimming pool. But that's okay, because humanity has a whole ocean to explore. We'll set up shop in what's known as the Twilight Zone, 60 to 200 meters deep, where sunlight fades to perpetual dusk. Here, thanks to hydrothermal vents and quirky geosynthesis, life still thrives despite zero sunlight. Of course, you wouldn't want to live there without a diving suit. Taking off your helmet would be like walking into a hurricane. Except it's really more like being hit by a small car. At 100 meters deep, the gauge pressure is around 10 times greater than at the surface. Your blood would boil, your guts would expand, and your organs would basically explode. Now, if we somehow evolve to withstand that kind of pressure, breathing would still be a problem, because while CO2 and other impurities can be filtered out of the water, pure oxygen would quickly run out. These underwater domes would need massive oxygen recycling systems similar to those used in space stations, likely powered by the movement of tides or geothermal energy. But on the upside, we'd never have to worry about skin cancer again. In fact, if we lived underwater long enough, we'd probably evolve larger lungs, bigger eyes with better night vision, and skin resistant to salt, kind of like a fish. In other words, we'd become merpeople. Okay, but how would we get food? Farming would be pointless, since most crops need sunlight. So we'd subsist on seaweed farms, lab-grown meat, or fish raised in giant underwater pens. No more Taco Bell, but maybe more seaweed salad. And speaking of salads, let's talk about sex. We've all seen Aquaman. Male dolphins use a special maneuver called the porpoise to attract their mate. Could human males evolve something similar? Maybe elaborate underwater dances or light shows using bioluminescent algae. Females might evolve the ability to change color to attract a mate, or camouflage themselves to hide from predators. And speaking of predators, sharks could be a problem. They have excellent night vision and are drawn to the light and noise from our cities. Maybe we'd evolve armor plating, kind of like a turtle, or develop the ability to sense danger through vibrations in the water, like a fish. Or maybe we'd just stay safe inside our domes. But what about dome patrol? Life under the sea would probably be pretty safe. It's hard to wage war when your weapons can't make it through 100 meters of water. Explosives would be useless because water muffles sound and obscures vision. Surveillance would also be nearly impossible in murky depths. Also, who would win a battle between submarines and aircraft carriers? Well, that's a question for another What If. This has been What If? Do you think we could live underwater? Let us know your thoughts. And be sure to subscribe, because next week we'll be asking, what if the moon went extinct? Reality is only one version of the truth. What if there's another? Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to keep imagining the impossible every single week.